a stare. We spoke of was and when, although I wasn't there. He said I was his friend, which came as some surprise. I spoke into his eyes. I thought you died alone a long, long time ago. Oh no, not me. I never lost control. Your face to face with the man who sold the world.
Chapter 24. Sam smelled death within the ballroom. He usually attributed it to the 300 or so geriatric millionaires cramming in for their rubber chicken and overdone steak. Tonight, he could smell it on his own breath. Liver spots were starting to show on his forehead. The skin of his bosses and contributors was drooping. They leaned on their canes. When all they had was liver spots, all he had was opportunity. Now everything was decaying. The flowers on his table were wilting. He could quit on the spot and vocalize his feelings for once. It was time to speak up. Rose was demure as usual, resting her hand on his to calm his nerves before his obligatory speech. Every year, he wished it to be his last, and every year he found a reason to stay. On this June evening, he scanned his brain to no avail. He reached for something in his soul and came back empty-handed. An audible sigh caught Rose's attention. "Everything will be fine, Samuel." She gave him a reassuring pat atop his knuckles. Something was off. Board members were shorter than usual in their conversations with him. He was drinking less, and tried to convince himself that perhaps he just noticed more. The mayor made his necessary rounds. Nothing was strange about their lack of interaction. A fleeting glance was enough. Chairman had begrudgingly written the check. No reason to talk there. What else could there be? Sam wondered. His Chardonnay was dwindling. People for good staffers were rushing about and avoiding the waitstaff. The usual racial lines were drawn, and the room was always its usual 80-20 mix of white to black. Sam stopped caring long ago. No event could pass without Sam remembering the wise words of Esquire. Every solution has a flaw. For example, you save on the manpower and the labor by digitizing the process of an auction. Then, you get bold. You don't purchase pens. Then the Wi-Fi doesn't work. Did you have the pens ready to go? You're not prepared. Keeping it simple is practical for everyone. The people funding you do not care about anything but a positive number on that screen, and that they were seated near someone powerful. There are no real tricks here, except knowing their interests and knowing your role. Tell your stories, but remember the heart of it. They won't. They'll remember that the parking was convenient, the speeches were short, and their friends enjoyed themselves. Andrew wore a new blue suit which was shiny, a slight upgrade from his usual attire. Dreamers were not common in his background. Doers were even less frequent. Climbers were discovered quickly. Charlotte balanced all three, and did it well. These were the people obeying arbitrary traditions as if they were the law. Andrew never felt involved. He was the help, and the cool kids knew it from a young age. Conceptualizing a champion was a difficult task, reserved for those who would never perform at those levels themselves. Andrew's leap was one deemed both impossible and frivolous by his peers. Culture superseded individuality, and one's existence did not matter unless you held on to the memories. The criticism Andrew faced did not change with the scenery, only the vocabulary of the critics. He was not welcome back home, nor was he respected among his peers. He refrained from voicing his opinion, and instead nodded in agreement. Tonight, that escalated to quick handshakes while gliding between tables. Sam rose from his chair when Andrew reached him. Sam's stature made up for their age difference. "You're exceptionally jovial," Sam said. "Perhaps it's my lady." Andrew motioned to Charlotte. She was shaking hands with old friends of her father's. Her battery was being drained, but she had an enticing energy. Charlotte and Sam exchanged a look that took them back to the darkened hallway by the lady's room in her teenage years. A red-faced Samuel stumbled toward her and lingered too long at her 16-year-old developing frame. Tucked away, trapped at the end of the tunnel, she focused on the red light of an exit sign. He passed her, and she heard him vomit in the men's room. She caught him staring at her over the years, and she knew he knew. He did. Charlotte excused herself to mill about the halls of her past, and this time she had Jessica to keep her company. She found her sulking on a cushioned bench in a dimly lit corridor. Moments before, Jessica had seen Jeff follow Carol into the bathroom. "Jeff is problematic," Charlotte whispered. She handed Jessica a tissue and continued. "Everyone loved him, right? They thought he was a simpleton?" Charlotte asked. "How did you know?" "Because that's how he does it," Charlotte answered. "He's a sad man, not worth your time." "He said I wanted to change him." "Didn't you?" Jessica laughed through her tears. "People think philanthropy is about planning parties," Charlotte continued. "But it's about getting to know people." "By throwing parties," Jessica countered. "By making them comfortable," Charlotte corrected her. "I thought this job was about helping people," Jessica mused. "That's why they buy a ticket to the party." Charlotte studied her and felt sorry for the girl. She remembered Jessica's arrival into the world and her father's awkward jokes about the heir to his throne. She was out of place. By the time Jessica could walk, Charlotte had been institutionalized. In this moment, she wished she could have helped her understand the unnecessary circus of the power crowd. "You don't need this, you know," Charlotte advised. "We want it, though, don't we?" Jeff's teeth were grazing Carol's neck when she realized she had to be in the ballroom for the countdown. She unwrapped her leg from his thigh and pushed him away. He enjoyed it. "Choke me," he encouraged. As she tightened her grip, she saw the depravity in his eyes. She began to cry and left. Jeff continued masturbating and undid his belt completely. He fastened it around his neck and attached it to the coat hook in the stall. It took him roughly 10 seconds to realize his misjudgment. At 11:45 p.m., the chairman queued up a marketing video designed to elicit tears from the white faces in the crowd. It validated them as saviors and highlighted the chairman's veneers. The black faces in the video were noticeably absent from the tables. Sam used to make a point of bringing the most active families enrolled in the People for Good programs to celebrate. Once Esquire died, so did the initiative. It melted away like Sam's backbone. Raucous applause followed the poverty porn. The mayor took the stage and pontificated about the 25th anniversary of People for Good. He turned on his political prowess to engage the crowd. I remember walking in off the street. I can't lie. I was there to avoid passing a crew of guys who were hanging out in the corner. And when I turned around, there was this white dude, hair to his shoulders, beard hiding the rest, and he tossed me a ball. I never left the rec center after that day. Those dudes down the block, they knew Sam. We ran full court twice that day. I think it was a Wednesday. I had a job organizing leagues by Saturday. Sam had that effect. He still does. And let's all agree that a South Philly kid's love of basketball and a willingness to work in North Philly at a time when many people wouldn't led to the birth of Philadelphia's largest community service provider. More applause. Sam felt a bit of joy from the compliments. He felt Rose's tight squeeze again on his hand. He also felt a tightness in his chest, knowing that this work did not fix anything. The guilt stayed with him always. I'm proud to know this has been a collaborative effort, the mayor said. I'm looking forward to the next 25 years. Even more applause. The mayor presented People for Good with a $1 million check in city funds. When chairman pledged to match it, he received a standing ovation. Sam wanted the night to be over. This was all too good to be true. He would ring in the new year as always. Chairman stepped to the microphone with roughly 7 minutes to go. Sam's dress shirt was damp beneath his tuxedo. Black tie in July, he thought. This is always so fucking dumb. The air conditioning and the fans in the ballroom ran at full blast. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a nice party. Is everyone having a great time? Chairman asked. Light applause. Ladies and gentlemen, my father started this organization as a club to promote altruism. Debits and credits and poor performances on standardized testing determine how many chips you can borrow to play this impossibly difficult game we call life. Those who made it their own did so before giving their children the upper hand. Save for the arts, success stories these days are built on already solid foundations. And if I have anything to say about it, those foundations involve new construction. We're all family here. We've wandered the halls of each other's homes. We built a community. My father built a community. No one, and I mean no one, fostered that idea more than our executive director, Mr. Samuel Pearson. Sam is understated, and we have to keep these bits of joy secret from him. More laughter came from the crowd than Sam would have liked. He was surprised to be receiving an award. Perhaps, he thought, this was an extension of the olive branch. Sam's ears filled only with the sound of the crowd's reaction. Chairman's synopsis of People for Good was lost on him. He tuned in when he sensed the finale. After a lifetime of supporting this organization through its ups and downs, growing exponentially, and solidifying our place in Philadelphia's history, Sam Pearson will enjoy his retirement from People for Good. And now, give it up for my favorite development professional, the man responsible for greasing the wheels, Mr. Sam Pearson. Not enough gas for Sam. Too many smiles. He was immediately dizzy as he felt Rose's hand slip from his clammy grip. He stood up. Chairman had outplayed him. He saved him the embarrassment of a no-confidence vote, while foisting upon him exactly what he longed for. Sam regretted not submitting his resignation. This was debilitating. Thunderous applause arose around a red-faced Sam who was trying to hide his panic attack. Carol swirled about the ballroom in a half-drunken haze of sloppy cheek kisses from old men and flirty pinches from divorced men trying their hardest. She ignored the chairman and instead looked for Sam. She found him frozen on the stage, drained from years of anxiety and imposter syndrome. Rose enlisted her help in walking him to his seat. He trembled with a trinket box in his hands. 10, 9, 8, the crowd cheered. Jessica's shrieks from the bathroom were muffled by their enthusiasm. 7, 6, 5, they continued. Sam was catatonic, and Rose was close to it. Carol spotted the chairman and his wife. 4, 3, 2. Carol flashed a flirtatious grin and raised her middle finger to him. 1. Happy New Year! Singing, hooting, hollering, kissing. They had done it again. Another year raising more money to fix the problems that keep getting worse. But at least they could feel good. Just one time, Chairman's wife said to him. Just one time. I wish it were someone with class. They pecked, and she gave a dainty wave to her husband's mistress. Andrew and Charlotte left with a plate of dessert and a cocktail to share. Romantic. Admittedly contrived, but romantic. They fumbled through the door and into the night, laughing in the faces of those awaiting the last bus, while Ubers crowded the car lane ready to charge double to drive half the distance. Andrew saw a weathered Michael and approached him with the plate. Here you go, Andrew said. I didn't ask. And that's not an offer, Michael told him. Michael took the dish of ornate nonpareils and luscious tiramisu and launched it across the street. The plate shattered, but most people were distracted by the flashing lights of an arriving ambulance. Andrew's initial shock turned into a smirk he had not shown in quite some time. It was the smirk of the philanthropist, unwilling to understand his own faults, because his charity should have been enough to make up for them. Michael chugged Andrew's old-fashioned, smashed the glass, and caught the next bus. Andrew told himself he was ascending. He clasped Charlotte's hand and hid his diminishing guilt with his head held high. Inside the hotel, EMTs loaded Jeff Randolph's dead body onto a stretcher.
Fare you well, my honey. Fare you well, my only true one. All the birds that were singing are flown, except you alone. Going to leave this broke down palace on my hands and my knees. I will roll, roll, roll. Make myself a bed by the water
other side. In my time, I will roll, roll, roll. In a bed by the waterside, I will lay my head. Listen to the river sing sweet songs to rock my soul. River, going to take me, sing me sweet and sleepy. Sing me sweet and sleepy all the way back home. It's a far gone lullaby sung many years ago. Mama, mama, many worlds I've come since I first left home. Going home by the waterside, I will rest my bones. Listen to the river sing sweet songs to rock my soul. Gone to plant a weeping willow on the bank's green edge. It will grow, grow, grow. Sing a lullaby beside the water. Lovers come and go, the river roll, roll, roll. Fare you well, I love you more than words can tell. Listen to the river sing sweet songs to rock my soul. Do-do.